How are you ever going to get people to take care of themselves absent your legal theft and everything else you have to do? Continue feeding them benefits that actually make them incompetent adults. There's no recovering from it. You can't just keep spending more and more and more and more and more and say we have to spend more and more and more and more because there are more and more and more and more poor people, more and more and more and more incompetent people, and we got to take care of more and more and more and more illegal immigrants, and it's just more and more and more and more and more. And it's always this number go up, and they never take account of the fact that there is actually a limit to the more, and the law of diminishing returns starts decreasing the amount of actual productivity taking place far before you ever get to the limit of more. That's why our average per capita income is below the national average. It's why our student achievement is now below the national average. All of these measures are now following behind the national average because of the state's orientation to these policies.
I'm not against paying more in taxes so some poor kid can
You should be.
But there should be a plan, as you said, for when they get older for them to survive on their own 2 feet. Because I think what's going on here is they put them on this welfare pump at such an early age, they can't ever get off it when they actually become an adult.
Exactly. That's why there shouldn't be any of it.
And it should be the government's job where if you need help, the government should be able to provide that help to make you the best person you can be to contribute to society.
No,
I think so. That's just my belief. I believe like as government, a part of government's their job is to make us better. So if someone needs a little extra, if someone needs a little extra help with math or reading, we should support extra funding. We should do whatever we can to help those kids.
That's not how anything actually works. First, the we is illegitimate because not everybody supports it. So saying we is stupid.
That's fine. I don't want to get into little semantics games.
But I have an alternative for you. Let's say all the money that the state government spends on all of this support and welfare were left in the hands of the people that earned it. Let's say that the state government doesn't tax that away from the people who earn it. How much of it do you think would actually need to be spent to take care of those people who need the help?
I don't know.
Half?
Taxes that we're currently paying?
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at here is that the amount of money that gets washed through the money laundering of the state is far greater than the actual need. So why do we pay it?
So we already have the funding, is what you're saying.
At churches and local groups took care of all of this stuff in the past. But then they started demonizing the church and getting prayer out of schools and promoting women being whores. And they basically just started eating away at the actual foundations of society. So we can solve all the problems. Vote for us. It's Tammany Hall with technology. There's no reason why these amounts of money should be spent on any of this stuff. It's not necessary. You go out to California and you look at the way they've spent money in the name of the homeless crisis.
And how many people are still homeless?
You're looking at numbers where it's verging on millions per person being spent.
People in Cali got too much.
Well, if you had just given every homeless person in California $1 million 20 years ago and called it a day, just imagine where California would be now. If they had just done a one-time payout, close the door, and you people take care of it yourself, California would probably be the second biggest economy on earth behind the country as a whole and have 100 million people in it. But does it? No. It's not even, I don't even think you can call anything happening in California economic. The government has its hands so far up the rear end of every real activity in the state that how could you call any of it economic? There isn't a single thing out there that has a price that makes sense. You're buying 1,000 square foot apartments for $1.5 million in the middle of frickin' nowhere. Yeah. Who the hell can pay for it? Only fake money train riding, money laundering thieves and murderers and liars can do that kind of thing. And you say, well, there's so many people. Well, now you know how prolific and pervasive it is. There are so many people that are operating within that methodology and they don't even know it. They think they're good people. They think they work real jobs, and all they are is they're just a dodo sitting in a car that gets pulled around a track, and they then throw money at them. They don't do anything.
We all are. I'm on the fucking treadmill. You're on the treadmill.
You can't make nobody can make a single claim to any money that I've ever made being like that. I suppose when I worked my temp job at U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo, those two, yeah, I would definitely be. But I went in with the intention of, actually, well, maybe they actually need people with brains in here. Maybe I can put in some time and actually work my way up the ladder and possibly
make his way up the pyramid.
Actually affect some change within banking. No, they don't want anybody with a brain. They want people with pretend qualifications from pretend schools who will follow orders and not question the ethics. One of the biggest practices inside a U.S. bank or a Wells Fargo is every bot head sitting at a computer screen has to look at ethics handbook revisions every 12 hours. As if anybody writing those things has any ethics whatsoever. It's what I couldn't stand it. I got to the point where it's like, okay, you brought me in here to use my skills. Then you shoved me behind a desk to be a monkey jockey doing just pointless garbage that doesn't require any brains at all. And then you feed me these stupid ethics handbook emails almost every day. And there's nothing about the way this place operates that complies with any of these ethics updates. None. There are no ethics in the banking industry. It's just compliance. Compliance with the Fed, compliance with the state governments, cronyism with industrialists.
Is there integrity in the banking industry?
Zero. These people will actually look you in the face and pretend that they're giving you an explanation for an inverted bond yield curve.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Well, basically, the longer term you lend money to somebody for, the higher rate of interest you're going to request back.
Makes sense.
Now, when that switches around, that means that something very perverted is happening within the system where everybody is willing, they're willing to pay higher interest on the shorter term debt. Doesn't make any sense. Makes zero sense. It doesn't comply with any axiom of how people actually interact with each other. They want more for the same. They want the same for less, and they want it sooner than later. And they'll always take the bigger lot over the smaller lot.
And they want you to do more with.
That's all that goes into it. And you take that handful of basic truths about how people make decisions, and the inverted bond yield curve just completely implodes on itself. There's no reason for that to exist unless something is being manipulated. In a free environment, like we were talking about, economic means, you can't get an inverted bond yield curve. It's impossible. The only way you can get one is if there's political money control involved somewhere. It's the only way. And it just drives me absolutely freaking insane.